today I want to talk a little bit about multi-signature wallets, what they are, and why you might want to consider using one. So currently the Bitcoin ecosystem is still very small. There's about 5 million wallets that have been created to date, and that number has been growing at a rate of approximately 8x year over year, which is a really impressive rate of growth, but at the same time 5 million is still a relatively small number of wallets in existence. So because the number of users is still relatively small, I think there's also a somewhat limited availability in terms of services and wallets that allow you to manage and hold your Bitcoin assets. The main issue I see is that right now there's kind of a fundamental disconnect between usability and control. So on the one hand, you can choose to store your private keys yourself in what's known as a client-side wallet, which basically affords you total control over your private keys, but at the same time requires a degree of tech savvy and kind of technical ability that might be beyond the average individual. On the other hand, you can also choose to use a web wallet, which basically streamlines the process by keeping your private keys for you. And in that sense, it's very convenient, but at the same time, not a very appealing choice for users who might be a bit more advanced because they might prefer to have more control over their assets. So while I might generally recommend diversifying the way and the location in which you're storing your Bitcoins, just in case any one of your wallets is hacked, there's actually a somewhat underutilized but very, very interesting third option, which is a multi-signature wallet. And multi-signature wallets allow for more direct control while also improving security, and therefore they can be useful in kind of bridging the gap between usability and control that I just described. Multi-signature wallets or addresses were not always possible, so they actually became possible in early 2012 through an addition to the original protocol. And basically, pay-to-script hash, or P2SH, is a type of Bitcoin address that was introduced as part of Bitcoin Improvement Proposal 16, or BIP 16, like I said, in early 2012. And this type of address can be secured using a more complex algorithm than standard addresses, and it involves the use of multiple elliptical curve digital signature algorithm, or ECDSA, that's a bit of a mouthful, keys, whereas a traditional wallet would only use one. So these kinds of wallets are also known as using M of N signatures. So basically what that means is that in order to use them or to withdraw funds, you need more than one private key out of a total number of keys that are generated. So for instance, in terms of how you would actually apply this, you could hold, let's say there's a total of 3 keys created, and in order to access the wallet and withdraw my funds, I need 2 of those keys. So I could hold one of them on a hard drive myself, I could give one to a friend or a trusted relative, and I could give the third one to the company who's, the third one would be held by the company who's actually offering the service. And the reason this is so useful and really fascinating is that it can be helpful in protecting both against theft and human error. So if I accidentally, throw out my hard drive or misplace the paper where I put my private keys, obviously don't want to do that, but in the unfortunate event that it did happen, the great thing is that I can still access my funds by using the backup key that's stored with my friend and the other key which is held by the company. So in terms of human error, that's how it would work kind of. Whereas in terms of theft, it's a lot harder for somebody who has malicious intent to steal more than one key if they're being held in different places or by different people. And therefore it really adds a significant level of security above what is possible using traditional addresses. The most interesting part of this, of multi-signature wallets or addresses, is really the fact that it is using technology to solve a problem rather than just using something like insurance, which is undoubtedly important and certainly helpful in terms of righting a wrong after the fact, but it doesn't actually come to the core of solving the issue. It's kind of more of a treatment rather than preventative care. Whereas using multi-signature wallets, you can prevent the theft altogether. Obviously, they're not perfect, as with anything. There's potential for theft or error, but it's significantly reduced over, say, a standard wallet, like I mentioned. So that's kind of how a multi-signature wallet would work in terms of an individual's use case. Another fascinating application of multi-sig wallets is for companies or institutions where more than one person is needed to sign off on a certain thing. So for example, let's say that in order for a company to make a purchase above $25,000, there's a requirement for either the CEO and the CFO, or the COO and the CFO, or the CEO and the COO to sign off on it. So basically, let's say you need the approval of 2 out of the 3 of those executives. With a multi-signature system, you can actually set it up so that if 2 of the 3 apply their digital signature to the transaction, it can then be processed. So in that kind of scenario, obviously it's not just working against theft, but it's actually also basically allowing certain individuals to sign off on a decision. So it's kind of a different approach, but still a very useful one.